It's September 2nd, so it's time for another monthly update video. I'm going to talk about what went on in August, what we've got coming up in September, and I always like to begin by highlighting three big things that you might want to take note of. So big thing number one, tomorrow, we're going to have a big announcement about StoiCon 2022. If you're not familiar with StoiCon, it is like the largest gathering of people interested in Stoicism. It's online, it's worldwide, and there's a lot of great speakers and things lined up for it, so you'll find out about that fairly shortly. Second big thing, I was asked very last minute if I would teach some classes for Marquette University. As it turns out, I'm teaching 3 classes for them, which quadrupled my teaching load for the fall. Third big thing comes out of that second big thing. So 2 of the classes are oriented around this capstone core class that's now required for students there, and I am teaching 2 sections of that. It's supposed to be centered around a particular big problem, and so I chose the big problem of anger. And so we're spending an entire semester looking at not only Martha Nussbaum's book on anger that's fairly recent, but all sorts of classical and contemporary discussions about anger, what it is, its relationship to justice and injustice. And so you can expect a lot of really cool content on that coming out, some of which I have released already. So those are the 3 big things. Let's talk about the month of August. So August started out pretty good, but it started to get busier and busier as I got asked with less than a month before classes started if I would take on the up to 3 classes for Marquette University. And I agreed to do that. So there's been a lot of, sort of rescheduling and retooling because designing, building, and getting classes ready takes an awful lot of work. It was also the month of my 52nd birthday, and I'm glad that quite a few people were able to participate in my online birthday bash. My wife and I also, had a nice dinner, and then that weekend went down to Chicago and saw Duran Duran, a band that I've loved since I was a kid, so that was an awful lot of fun. I also ended up for about the last week and a half of the month, wound up with an infection, and that really took the wind out of my sails, so to speak, when it comes to energy. So it's kind of a perfect storm of more work, less energy. I didn't get quite as many things done as I was hoping, but I did get one event, the Philosophers in the Midst of History discussion that I did with the Frank Weinberg Library on Hegel. Well attended. We had some great discussions and a lot of fun with that. I also shot quite a few videos. You may have seen some of the Sadler stories, or the Evil Sadler that came out recently, or the Hegel asides, rants, digressions. I did a caption contest. I actually did 2 Twitter conversations where I saw something interesting happening on Twitter and then did some, screenshots of the conversations. I also finished up teaching my Light Hall class on Aristotle and the moral virtues, and I gave you some samplers of what went on in those classes. People liked those quite a bit. And I shot a lot of core concept videos on Arthur Schopenhauer's On the Basis of Morality, Part 3, which I had been wanting to do for quite some time. And also for the new class, on Aristotle's Rhetoric, Book 2, definition and discussion of anger and its opposite, calmness. And I finished remastering the Epictetus and Enchiridion videos and releasing those. On the Sadler's Lectures podcast, I Started the month doing a lot of stuff on Alcuin of York, a great medieval thinker who has a wonderful treatise called On Virtues and Vices. Then we went into Heidegger's Plato's Doctrine of Truth, 5 podcast episodes on that. And then Aristotle, Nicomachean Ethics, Book 6, where he's talking about the intellectual virtues, and I have been releasing those. So that is what has been going on in the month of August. And let's talk now about what's coming up. September is going to be quite a busy month for us here. Not only do I have 4 academic classes that I am teaching and designing, trying to get back to the gym as well. We're doing a little bit of travel for music events and things like that. So I'm not doing quite as many of the usual events that I would be doing, but things are kicking off tomorrow with our monthly AMA, that's Ask Me Anything session. So if you've got questions for me, pop in and go ahead and ask them. That is at noon Central Time. I should preface too and say that all these events are going to be Central Time. So if you're not in the Central Time Zone, you do want to check what the time zone difference is going to be. Also tomorrow on the 3rd at 2 p.m., I'll have Philosophy Chat for Patreon supporters. On the 10th at noon and at 1:30, we're going to have the 2 different parts of Worlds of Speculative Fiction. I didn't quite get to releasing the stuff on J.G. Ballard and his trio of Crash, Concrete Island, and High Rise that I've been shooting video footage on. That starts at noon with a video premiere, and then we have at 1:30 some ongoing discussion in Zoom for people who want to talk more about the books and the author. On the 14th at 5 p.m., we'll have our Hegel Q&A and discussion session. That's open to the public. You don't have to be a Patreon supporter for that, but it is underwritten by Patreon supporters. And then a week later, on the 21st at 3 p.m., we will have the Patreon exclusive Hegel Q&A and discussion. And then we'll finish up the month on the 29th at 6 p.m. with the Milwaukee Stoic Fellowship, which is held online. You don't have to be a member or live in Milwaukee to participate in it. We'll be talking mostly about the season of Stoicism coming up, Stoicon, Stoic Week, all the cool events that are going to be happening. I do want to get back to shooting half-hour Hegel videos this month. I didn't succeed in doing any this last month, but I'm hoping to do those and catch up on book reviews as well. I'm a bit backlogged on that. I'll probably shoot some personal videos, maybe do another caption contest, and then a lot of core concept videos. I've got more coming out on Aristotle. I'm shooting some stuff on Audre Lorde's The Use of Anger, which is what I started my classes with. Doing that this weekend, and I'll probably release those next week. And then Joseph Butler, some of his sermons that have to do with anger and resentment and forgiveness. Maybe I'll get to Lactantius and, his treatise on the anger of God or on divine anger. And if I'm really, really ambitious, I'll get some Lucretius things shot having to do with the nature of the will for my Foundations of Philosophy class. I'm also going to be working on podcast stuff and releasing those. We've got more Aristotle, Nicomachean Ethics, Book 6 episodes to release. And then I'm going to be doing some on Descartes' Discourse on Method, which I did videos on a long time ago, and I'm teaching a class on it, and I need those podcast episodes for that. And then if we have time, I'll shoot some more videos, or rather create some more podcast episodes from videos on Epictetus's discourses, but we'll see how far I get with that. That might be overly ambitious given the heavy workload that I have. I still have a lot of client-based work. I'm giving a lot of talks coming up this term, getting ready for Stoicon, still editing Stoicism Today, Volume 4, and of course, creating all of this content. So I hope that you can, participate in some of these online events that we've got coming up, and that you enjoy the video content and the podcast content, and might even get to a little bit of writing this month if things pan out well. So I'll see you, and I hope that you have a great month ahead.